Okay, we have a quorum, so we should get started. And we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Was that, how's it going?
Hello, neighbor.
All right.
Is that
So-
my file? That's my file.
First things first, I want to remind folks that our meeting is being recorded. These microphones are live, so please mind the side conversations because they will be part of the public record. And let's see. I'd like to welcome, I believe, our new rep from Parks and Recreation. Is that
Yes.
correct? Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Joan Bordeaux, and I'm representing the new Parks and Recreation.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's do a round of introductions for John.
Sure.
Starting with,
I'm Mike Matos. I'm representing the Housing Authority.
Nice.
John Souza, Joni is very familiar with me. Lifelong friends.
oh, excellent,
Yep.
excellent.
Jim Conlon, and John is too, I think, an at-large appointee.
Yep.
And we don't know why we're here.
Susan Murray? Am I at large? I thought I was at large too.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, okay.
Margaret Sweet, Planning Board.
Buddy Bakersmith, the chair, and I'm an at-large member.
Joan and I know each
My,
other, right?
sure, yeah, but she doesn't know you in this capacity.
No, I'm
How
a clerk
different
on the-
it is, isn't
Yes,
it?
CPC.
Nice to meet you all.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We, I think at our next committee meeting, I'll bring a draft of a letter of appreciation for Joe in his years on the CPC as the Parks and Board, Parks and Rec representative. But you're most welcome. And I don't know if, clearly Joe sold the rep job that you rushed into it. So,
So I'm going to do the best I can.
all right, I know you will, thank you. And you, this is jumping in the deep end of the pool with us, because we have probably, this is our proposal review night, so join in as much as you feel comfortable. And it's probably, I would say, John, we probably have to go back a number of years to a time when we had so many proposals
I don't
in one
remember
round.
we ever getting this money in one.
Yeah, I remember one. I thought maybe you were on the committee then, but perhaps not,
Sure,
but
it's been a long time since we've.
it's been a
gotten
long time. But that's great.
Yep.
And I'd be happy to, I'll get your contact info and reach out to you. There's some background stuff I can give you about the committee and any questions you have and stuff
Good.
like that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The other thing, it just said, wait, an announcement I have for tonight's meeting, since we do have a fair amount of stuff to talk about, I have some fudge from Buc-ee's.
Which one? Where were you?
Well, I was in Houston this past weekend, and I didn't make it to the Buc-ee's, but my daughter-in-law did, and gave us some of the Buc-ee's. So this is a sampling of Buc-ee's fudge, and if you're not familiar with Buc-ee's, is-
Quite the store.
institution, it's the idea of a Cumberland Farms, except you have to multiply by about 50.
Wow.
They average about 100 gas pumps at any given Buc-ee's, and then an enormous,
Enormous. They're
Store.
bigger than Home Depot and Lowe's, I
Yeah.
forgot how many thousand. It's,
but you'll find them along the freeways in Texas.
Is it a truck stop?
It's an everything stop, yeah.
heavy cars. It's
Yeah.
a big tourist attraction. I
Okay.
went one time with a group of guys, and I think I was in Kentucky, and, we gotta go to, I didn't know what it was, Buc-ee's, okay, I'll go, I'm going in, it's like, it's a store.
Yeah.
Massive store. And it's, over 100 gas pumps that just goes on and on and on. And the people walking around just buying garbage,
Oh, yeah, just buying stuff, yeah.
junk and,
Yeah.
a lot of touristy stuff, a ton of food and prep. I'm glad I went, but
It's a
I
destination.
wouldn't go out of my way to want
Yeah.
this, just up.
But the Fudge got a lot of chatter at the TSA line amongst the security folks, so
Did they?
help yourself
Thank you.
to some fudge and pass it around during the meeting. All right, great. So we received the minutes from Michelle via email. So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the minutes of our January 13th meeting.
Motion to approve as printed.
Is there a second? Okay. Additions, corrections? I have a few corrections, but I want to check with anybody else. It's okay. All right, so a couple of corrections, I believe. Let me throw these out here. On page 3, and this would be a hard one to catch in the minutes, but I think it would be helpful. In our agenda, we had the discussion of the eligibility application on the Agricultural Preservation Fund. And then the very next item was our discussion with representatives from the Ag Commission. So I believe where that kicked in page 3 is right where it says, members from the agricultural community also describe current challenges. That's when our conversation really shifted to just in general, what's going on with agriculture in the town of Dartmouth, what are their challenges? So I think maybe if you just put a heading, a heading there, discussion with agricultural commission reps, and then probably it would be helpful to repeat those who are in attendance that you have up here.
Oh, okay.
And just repeat them, their names.
Okay.
On page 4, and it's only because I drive up and down Dartmouth Street all the time, the little
Coffee shop?
commercial, the coffee shop is Bougie, Boujie, but I kind of like the Boogie Bean better, but that's not their name. So you should just change that to JIE. And then on page 6, Mark, I believe he spells his name M-A-R-C. And then the final thing is our next meeting is February 10th. You have to head March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was ahead.
That's not bad, being ahead. Anyway,
Great.
so if I could have a motion to accept the minutes with those corrections.
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
We have a second on that
No, you
motion
didn't
to
get a
make the
second.
correction?
I'll make a second.
Mike, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And Joan,
Abstain.
1 abstention. Thank you. Okay, do we have the invoices? I have an invoice. Invoice for $2,500. This is related to the Cultural Center project. This represents design services and development of construction documents. Let me pass that on, take a look. And Mike, if you would be okay doing the motion. Okay. After Jones had a chance to look at it. And if folks haven't seen yet, we have the town, the town's manual for boards and committees, I believe. Is that what it is?
Yes.
We are to, if you haven't received one, you should get one, and I think Michelle's been trying to make sure people have that, and then sign the form that you received it and return it to Michelle. So I don't know if anybody tonight has to, I know Michelle's been passing them out. Okay, so we're all set there. Excellent. And we also confirmed that Michelle had looked into those of us have been received an email from, about doing the ethics, conflict of interest training. You have to do that every 2 years, and so apparently that was generated from the Ethics Commission, not from the town. So if you got one like me, it meant it was your kind of time to re-up on the training. And so if you didn't get one, it wasn't your time, and you may get one next year. Okay. Okay, a big part of our agenda here is to discuss the proposals that we've received for the June round. And just a couple of things I want to be clear as we talk about them. One is I won't be recognizing anybody from the audience here because I don't want us to morph into a discussion of proposals with the sponsor. So we'll just do our conversation, and our task today is to come up with questions or additional information that we would like to have regarding these proposals. I'll turn those into letters that will go out to the sponsors, inviting them to our March meeting, which will be a public hearing in which they can make a short presentation, and having provided answers to their questions or any additional information that we had desired. So that's kind of our main task, is just go through each of these proposals, nail down those questions and additional information needed. And then the one other thing I want to mention is Susan is on the Agricultural Commission, and she had reached out to me just about, in terms of conflict of interest, since the Agricultural Commission would be the recipient of capitalizing this fund, should she, participate or not in the conversation. My advice was not to participate in the conversation or voting. And I think that just keeps it the cleanest thing. And so when we come to that part of our agenda, I think, again, just to make it crystal clear, it's an open meeting, so I think you would just join the audience for that period of time. And then when we complete the conversation, come back up here and we'll continue our meeting and stuff. So does that sound pretty good in terms of understanding that? It was interesting in reading the conflict of interest or doing the training, they had an interesting note on this. So if, like say, Michael, just for our own edification, so Michael being the Housing Authority representative to the CPC, if there was a Housing Authority proposal in front of us, Michael could participate because he is, by design of this committee, he is assigned to this committee for that role. And so, it's kind of like if you were a union rep on some board, and there were union issues in front, you could still be part of those conversations and stuff because you were supposed to be on that. But in this case, the Agricultural Commission does not have an official rep role on our committee. So that's why we're doing this a little bit differently. But for other folks, like Parks and Rec, you don't have that conflict of interest issue if there are Parks and Rec proposals in front of us and stuff.
Buddy, the state ethics.
Yes.
Because I've seen this come up before, and state ethics recommend anytime you have a perceived conflict of interest and you're sitting on a board, they ask that they remove yourself from the table.
Yes.
And they go as further to saying you should leave the room But if you choose, there's nothing preventing you from sitting in the audience and speaking. That is not against the law. They just recommend
interesting, yeah.
that you leave the room. But if you choose that it's important to you and you want to comment, you're not breaking any laws by staying in the room and commenting. But they say, do not stay at the table.
Yes.
Just move yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Are you all set?
Yep. Do you want me to make a motion on the, and we'll go back to the invoice real quick? I'd like to make a motion, to pay $2,500 to the Dartmouth Cultural Center for their invoice from Studio to Sustain for, services related to the rehabilitation and renovation of the Dartmouth Cultural Center.
Second.
Okay, any questions or further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, that's unanimous. Okay. Just in no particular order, except I'm going to leave the Agricultural Preservation Fund for last of the proposals we talked about.
Sure, I had you sign those.
The DCTV renovations. So this is a proposal to now actually do the work based on the assessment and then workup of bid documents, and estimated that this work will cost, let's see, approximately $511,394, and the request is $461,394 in CPA funds. So, are there questions or information that we would like, questions to be answered, or information we would like to receive, additional information we'd like to receive regarding this proposal?
Buddy, just a general overall question. I'm curious if has anybody, or have you done the math? We've got a number of applications here that if we award every application, do we have the funds to do that? Or how much funds would we have left if by chance we award every application? Have you, I haven't done the math on you.
I think I did. Did I write it down? I don't think so. It's a little more than $4 million, I believe, if you added all of these up. And the projection going into July 1st is we would have around 4.7 million in reserves, and an additional 1 million, approximately, additional 1 million in revenue in fiscal '27. So our estimates are about so total money available would be about $5.7 million. And
Thank you.
what I want to do is,
I think that's important for the board to understand.
yes,
what-
yes. And at our meeting in March, we'll have, our agenda item will be to go over in detail the fiscal '27 projections before we take any votes on anything. But that's great, yeah. Some questions or additional information?
No, I guess they've been before the historic, because we have a recommendation, I guess, from the Historic Commission. And I'm gonna tell everybody here, which I hate to, but I am, I used to go into that building when it was the town hall. I used to go in there for the assessors all the time. I can talk to Donald Carr. Okay. Anybody else? No?
I remember it as
Oh,
town hall.
John said he went to
I
dances.
remember Donald, I can't remember going I know I've been in the building, I don't remember going in as the town hall. I certainly remember Donald Carr
I used to
from
go in
the
there.
other town hall when it was
Yeah.
with the police station. But I don't recall going
Yeah,
into,
I remember that building.
That was after our time. That was before our time.
I think it's an important building. I think that it is leaking, and it, you know, needs a lot of work.
Buddy, I think a
Yes.
question we need to, not only ask these folks and everyone, what happens if CPA doesn't fund the project or partially funds the project? What does it do to the project?
Question.
This one's pretty clear, I think, what would happen. But anyway, I think it's important we ask everybody that question.
Yeah.
A good question.
Corollary question, what other sources of funding might be available? And for the requests that are coming from enterprise funds, what's the average year-round balance of the enterprise fund?
One thing I want to make sure is that, you know, these estimates, are they based on the state prevailing wage rates? Just to be sure, because I believe as a public project, they're gonna have to pay those rates.
So buddy, what's always weighed with me in looking at this is how much skin in the game
Yeah.
does an applicant put in? On this instance, they're putting in 50,000 from other, I'm assuming it's from themselves, that's only 10%. So I would ask, why is there, the wrong term, but why is there so little skin in the game, you know? Can they come up with some additional funding on their own?
And you're saying the town or DCTV more skin in the game?
DCTV, which is the town, but DCTV's got a budget, and, so,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes things gotta hurt a little bit, you know? To get some funding, or go out and look for some, you know, other grants, you know, that's why we ask
Yeah.
for, you know, are there any sources? Sometimes it's not possible, I'm not saying the committee has been steadfast and said, oh, we're not gonna contribute, but, it's something I wanna know. What, you know, how much skin can you really put in the game, you know?
I do feel like we kind of had a discussion about like a landlord versus, like what a landlord would do versus what a tenant would do. If we think about this as like a landlord
As
tenant.
they occupy that building.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I
Do
have
they
one
have a
question.
lease on that building? No, I don't think so. Do they have a lease on this building, buddy?
That's a good question.
All right, so I'm gonna write that down, the question, just to kind of confirm.
Because I didn't see that anywhere on here.
How,
Well, the cultural center, for instance, has a lease.
they lease it from the town because they're not
That's
a
right.
town board.
Right. So I don't know if DCTV is just a tenant at will, or,
Or
Right.
are they a constituted town board?
I don't know.
We'll find out, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask that question, yeah.
So one other question I have was, it goes back to the historic, 1894, is this on the register at all? It is.
I believe it
Yes,
is. I
it
believe
is.
it's
How
in
does
here
that
that they
impact the
are.
renovations that they're proposing? Do they have to get approvals from, you know, whether it be the Park Service, whether it be Mass Historical, you know, just time-wise, and if that's all been factored in? I'm just trying to understand that, how
Yeah.
that fits in.
Yeah, so typically what we would do, and I was gonna mention, I think that just dovetails with what you're saying, is we will require that the plans are signed off or approved by the Dartmouth Historical Commission. So they've already been before them, I think, to date, but that continues, they, you know, any changes they make to the plans and things. And they have to, kind of, because the Historical Commission is probably the best versed organization in the town, since they have to meet the Department of Interior standards. And I had related to that a couple of questions, which was, you know, there's a letter from the Historical Commission, and that mentions a couple of things, and I wanted to just confirm, are they adopting, have they incorporated the items that the Historical Commission had bulleted?
Standards of restoration, you
They put
know,
it,
on so-called historical restorations like this, there are sometimes requirements that leaves no hardy board siding and
Yes, exactly.
aluminum siding.
Yeah. In the cost estimate, they outline a couple of potential deductions. If you look at the cost estimate, where is it? Where did I see it? One was the red versus white cedar
right.
shingles. There was a deduct there. How can I find it? Let's see. Somewhere in here.
Yeah, it's right after the plans.
Where is it?
It's right after the plans, it's like a one-page letter right after the plans.
Oh, okay.
To the plans. From the architect,
Here you go.
cost estimates.
Thank you. All over the place, yeah. So they have this alternate, would be to go with white cedar, remove the roof overhang scope, full trim replacement. So a couple of the shingle question and the overhang, I think my question is, what does the Historical Commission say about those as alternatives, or alternates? Because that's, again, this is kind of gets back to, they really need to stick with.
Well, and the other quick thing I noticed too is on the, I think it's page 6 of the application, the project start date says July 1st of this year. So again, going back to the timeline, and the, you know, because our funds wouldn't be available at that time,
Right.
so.
So we would want a revised, is that section 4? That has the
Yeah,
chart?
section 4, yeah.
Okay, so we would like a revised section 4, noting the earliest funds would be available would be August 1st.
So in the application, buddy, they put the 50,000 is coming from DCTV's retained earnings.
Okay.
So I'd be curious to know how much is in that fund,
Yes,
what's it been used for in the past?
yeah. So I think we'll get, that's probably their enterprise fund, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that the right way to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if that's retained earning means, within the enterprise fund, there's
Yeah,
There's another account, I don't know,
So it's
but
the only reference I've ever heard in town finances about to retained earnings was in enterprise fund.
was the term for the enterprise fund?
I'll confirm that.
Just looking at the date, the July's bid submittals and then construction they have starting in August.
Yep.
But I guess that's still too quick of a turn, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask it, but
Project
the
started July 1, and then they have.
community TV station is essentially the creature of the cable, the town's cable provider, which, and the town has, in its wisdom, given Comcast a very nice monopoly. And, I mean, if every household in town is paying what I am for my Comcast bill, you know, it's considerably north of $10 million a year.
Has to be.
And so,
We did discuss this at the
Right,
the
that's a
last one, but I
familiar
can't
question.
remember where it went.
Right.
That was brought up, like, was there any funds from Comcast that they could leverage?
Yeah.
or,
But I can't remember where that,
I don't need, let's ask it again. I don't, right, it did come up, and I don't know if it was like,
I
we
might
were
ask
just a
that
little
question because I
premature with it.
had a situation in Taunton where, same thing. TCAM there used Comcast money for renovations of their space.
yeah.
oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah, but we did get an answer to it. There was a reason why.
Okay, but let's ask it again.
I say, let's go to Starlink.
maybe it's how you asked them. So we got a precedent now if you know about your.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
I don't know how it works, honestly.
You know what we could do?
yeah.
You know those funds are drying up, I've heard too.
There was a committee that tried to find out about other sources. And if, I went to that meeting, there were like 4 people that showed up that night to that meeting. And it was, I guess, too expensive to change. You know, it was a lot of money.
I did have a question on the composite material. It sounds like the historic commission was okay about that, but I just wanted to check in. And I did look that up, and actually there's the Department of Interior has a brief on using alternative materials in restoration preservation. Call it Preservation Brief 16, which actually goes into a lot of, pretty clear, but a lot of detail about materials that are acceptable substitutes, things to consider when deciding that a substitute is appropriate. So composite is materials for exterior trim could be an appropriate substitute, but if warranted. But generally, the idea is you use the similar materials. So if it's a wood frame structure, you would generally use wood frame. So I think my question is, what was the argument for going with composite, particular for this building? So
I think, I mean, the letter from the Historical Commission mentions that use eastern cedar shingles and composite trim replacement.
yes, so they seem to be okay with that, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
just check and see, because there seems to be, you know, that in the interior standards in their brief, it was, you need to have a good reason to use alternative, and they mentioned composite is in places where there's particular exposure to deterioration and things like that. So there may be an argument, but I think we just need to
Yep.
hear what it is, should that come up at a later date when people wonder why there's composite on that historic building. And I imagine we will be requiring a historic preservation restriction, so we probably should let them just know that. Because as it is, just being on the registry doesn't protect a building. It's a restriction is what then protects a building from alterations that affect the historic character of the building.
That's
So,
a deed restriction, right?
yes, yeah, yeah. And typically, it's either Mass Historic Commission or a place like Whale or somebody like that that holds the restriction. But I think we could let them know, like we've done in other places. We typically, if there isn't one, we put one on as a way of kind of protecting the public investment in the historic work, preservation work that's being done.
Makes sense?
And I think this came up before, but it was premature. I think it would be good to get, have them present the annual maintenance budget and source of funding to maintain the property. I think that was one of the questions we had at an earlier phase is, how did it get to be in such a condition that now such work is needed? I think we had foreshadowed that when it got down to actually doing the work, we would want to know that, what that maintenance budget was to indicate that they actually could keep this up.
They do answer that question, and, because that's one of the questions we asked, Buddy.
Yeah.
And they say ongoing maintenance of the building will continue to be funded through DCTV, enterprise fund, and operating budget. Larger capital expenses will use DCTV's retained earnings or CIP requests through the town of Dartmouth.
So maybe we
So
just get the annual
they're-
budget.
They're funding it through Dartmouth Community TV, but as you know, that last part, one of the issues I had is nobody had their eyes on it. You know, the
Right,
pitches we saw, the deterioration didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're doing annual maintenance, why wasn't that picked up 5 years previous, that you had, you know, rot here, or that you had, it was pretty bad. It didn't happen overnight, so, this doesn't answer, who and when, or, you know, when do inspections take place? I think we need some more details on how they're
Yeah.
gonna keep an eye on this building. that
I think it'd
doesn't-
probably be helpful to see this, see the numerical answer to this. You know, is it a annual maintenance budget of $500? You know, and then you'd know that was trouble. Okay.
I've got an ignorant question. I mean, John accurately points out that, you know, in this case, there were problems that apparently had been let go for a long time.
Yeah.
And is there any central town, I hope to use the word authority, entity that looks across all town facilities and keeps an eye on everybody's maintenance practices, so that if, you know, if some department gets timid in its budgeting and cuts out building maintenance, that they'll be pulled up short and in the budget process or the management process be encouraged to maintain their building. I mean, is there a centralized supervision of
I don't know
of
of
building
any.
maintenance?
John, do
think-
you?
Well, it was when Tim Lancaster was
Right.
taken on that role
Yeah, he did a lot.
as a facilities manager. I think the town may be going to be asking for a separate position
yes.
this year.
Yeah.
For a facilities manager. But a facilities manager is, I can see managing projects like this, facilitating a project like this. Will the facility manager be going out and doing annual or 6 months inspections around these facilities? That's what we need. You know, we need eyes on the ground that is paying attention to it. Not just, oh, well, I'm the facilitator when you know, a project comes up and, you
Yeah.
know, we need expertise and we need site,
Capital planning.
you know, management, oversight, construction management. No, I want eyes on the ground, that before we get there, that somebody's putting paint on that piece of wood that's been peeling for the last 6 years, you know?
Yeah.
They're
We're
both-
not getting that.
Well,
Both-
who
both
would we
valuable.
call, John? Who would you call if you had one of these buildings, like let's use DCTV, and you had the roof leak? So who do you call?
I think,
Well, they call the town because they don't own
Well,
the
they call
building.
the town,
right?
but
Yeah,
Who at the town?
but I think I can
Yep.
kind of help with that. I think, as George said earlier, Tim Lancaster was
Right.
managing, but he was more, if there was a problem that needed to be fixed, somebody would call him. There was nobody facility. I believe that that's something that's coming in the works, as John said, stated, that the select board are looking at a facilities manager. I don't think that they've kind of established what that role will be. If, you know, as I agree, there should be boots on the ground and should be someone looking at the buildings, but I don't think that's come into play yet. I think there's just like a work in progress.
Well, it shouldn't wait too
It's-
long.
It's not,
Well,
you
we'll
know,
ask about that.
the facilities manager, like you said, is gonna get the call, hey, we got this problem, we got a leak in here.
Right.
No, I want somebody, before
Yeah.
Leak.
you get water, you notice, hey, we've got some bad shingles.
Yeah.
Before the wood rots, somebody saying,
Yeah.
hey, you know, we should repaint this building because it's peeling. And the next step, if we let that go, that's not happening. And I don't know if a facilities manager is,
Yeah.
it's gonna be in his job description to go out and look for something before it becomes a problem.
Well, I think we ask about,
It's-
you know, a maintenance budget, we can also ask about the oversight. And I think that will open up the
Do-
question then of like,
Yeah, do
I
do they
wish-
pay somebody to go out and do an annual inspection of
We do
of
capital needs
buildings?
assessments in our
Right.
properties, I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of how we do it, you know.
Yeah.
Say it again, Mike?
We do capital needs assessments, so, you know, you do a 10 or 20-year capital needs assessment of a property, and then you know, okay, this needs to be replaced in year 5, the mechanicals of this age, they're gonna need to replace in this year or whatever, so you kind of can plan for those things, but that's in a, you know, in a sort of a more controlled environment. Here in a town, I mean, it's definitely not our purview, but it's something the town should look at and how they're gonna manage that, whether it's through this capital planning committee that they have, or whatever, or whether it's, you know, to this facilities manager position, but somebody needs to take the lead in that, I would feel like, you know? Whether it's up to the individual committees that then say, okay, we did an assessment, here you go, and give it to that person who's gonna quit. I don't know what the best way to manage it,
Facilities management and maintenance is two separate
really.
Right.
issues. Now, you could have facilities managers that has a maintenance arm to it, that,
Yeah.
you know, the facilities manager's in charge of a maintenance group, but we're seeing a problem with maintaining, nobody's maintaining it, no one's got their eyes on it. It gets identified
Who's got
after
their
it's a
eyes on it?
problem.
Yep.
You know?
so some of that, I think the opening to those questions in this particular proposal is around this building. So how is that gonna happen in this building? Certainly that's an opening that's.
It'd be useful to have some guidance or from the select board office as to what function they expect this new facilities manager to
That may come up when we explore.
Well, this was probably put together by Cody, and I don't know who's he's,
Peter probably put this particular proposal
I think it was
together.
Peter, or you, because Peter doesn't own the building.
Right, right.
So it had to come from the
Right.
town side, but anyway.
Well, if we give money to an organization that they have a building from the town, couldn't we make it their responsibility to, say, every 2 years, have an inspection of the building that they pay for? And send the report to, I don't know, the facilitator? You know, every 2
Somebody.
years or 3 years, that they have to have an inspection of the building.
I think for our position, in supporting a recommendation to the town meeting who's gonna make a decision, it really is doing the due diligence about, okay, if the town's gonna make this investment in this building, that we have scratched the surface a little bit to have some assurance that the investment's not gonna be just, you know, money down the drain. And, you know, and part of that in making an investment like this is looking at, okay, they have the capacity to maintain this building, which is more than just the dollars, but it's also, do you have a system in place?
We get to ask the
That-
question.
Yes, we get
And
to
they get
ask
to
those
answer the
questions,
question.
and we get the answers.
Yeah.
We can't monitor that going forward, but it's part of the due diligence. We go to town meeting and say, yeah, you know, it's a good project, and it's a viable thing to put, you know, almost $500,000 into this building, because they have presented a way they're gonna maintain the building, kind of thing. Anything further on this proposal, or we move on?
I'm just looking
Yes.
back in my notes, and I thought I took better notes, but I do have some. It says that DCTV puts in $8,000 a year in maintenance, and that they've put in, and again, these are just notes, so. But they've spent $500,000 on the building since 2010, and we know most of that, I think, has gone inside.
15 years.
Yeah. But I just like to, you know, I think they are an incredible piece of this town, documenting it. And I
Yeah.
know we've talked about the importance of the building historically, but DCTV as an
Yes.
organization, I think is incredibly important. You know, it's, you know, as we saw the support letter from Dartmouth High School, you know, they're kind of there to, you know.
Yeah.
I just want to note that, the importance of the organization.
Yep, all right. Okay, let's move on to Crapo Field Lighting Rehabilitation. This is submitted by DYAA, request $230,000, and this is to replace the lighting infrastructure at Crapo Field. One, it's very old. Two, the new technology of using LED, it will be a lot more energy efficient. And I think also probably better illumination is my guess. If it's anything like the difference between my battery flashlight and the LED flashlight, which I bet it is,
I bet it is too.
it'll be brighter. So, questions, information that we would like on this?
What do they project for the change in operating cost?
From the efficiencies, you mean, on the lighting efficiencies?
I mean, if they're replacing
They
incandescents.
may have some estimate of that in here. I'm trying to think of
Okay.
that lighting proposal here by C2S Energy. It might be in here, Jim. Let's see. I think annual savings. Of about $5,400 a year, I think. Yeah. I had some questions just about who's who. You know, so this Crapo Field is town land, and DYAA, I think they indicate they have a 50-year lease. But, you know, is it DYA's responsibility to do this kind of infrastructure? Is this money going to DYAA, or is it really going to the town? I'm not clear whether this should be going to the town to have that work done. So I don't know what, and so I have a few questions that kind of try to figure that out. Like, so one, I think it would be helpful to know what the current lease term is. If 50 years, if, you know, are they in year 49 of the lease? So what the current term is for the lease. And what is the lease, what are the conditions of the lease? Is DYA as a tenant responsible for all repairs and capital improvements? You know, you can do it that way, but I don't know if that's what this lease does.
Don't you think we should have a copy of the lease?
Yeah, yeah. So I had some questions about who's responsible for the infrastructure. What is the lease, the current term? Try to understand that. Because it describes the town as partner, so we want to know what's the town's role in this. And it describes MCE CS2, those two entities, as overseeing the project. So I think it's trying to sort out, so what's the role of DYAA in this project? What's the town's role? What is CS2 Energy's role in this? Like, so who's got who's gonna receive the check? Who's gonna sign contracts? Who's gonna make sure the work's fine? Who's gonna pay for the work? So I think we need to sort this out, because I think in terms of, if it's the town that's really administering this, because it's town property, then, you know, ultimately, the warrant is awarding the money to the town.
To the town,
And DYA can still have a role and do all those things, but we have to be clear, like, exactly who should the town be awarding funds to? I'm not positive in this case, it should be the DYA directly, since this is town-owned land and this is capital stuff. They won't be, you know, DYA won't be walking away with the lights when the lease is done.
Sorry, did someone already say that they leased this land though from the town?
Yes, I think they say they have like a 50-year lease.
So generally, if they lease it, they probably own the improvements. So the town may own the land, but the
Yes,
improvements on the land.
that could be, yeah.
They may own the improvements.
Yeah.
And so if they own the lights, then it's really them that has to,
That's what we want to sort out, right. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see that it was a 50-year lease. I just saw that DYAA has held a long-term lease on the property for over 50 years.
For over 50 years,
So
okay.
that, does that mean that like every 10 years they're renewing it? Because I think that would make a difference if you have
Yeah.
like
No, it's
Okay.
not.
a 30-year lease
Thank you.
versus
No,
a
it's a
10-year
long-term,
lease.
it's a
That's right.
long-term.
why you
That's where
have
that
to
number
see
was
the
on my
lease.
head.
Yeah, yeah.
We really should
I
have
think
had the
that's
lease
important.
attached. When we do these kind of things, we should get, like we get purchase and sales agreements attached.
Yeah.
We should have leases attached.
Yeah, because I think like DYSA for fields, don't they have to like maintain the fields
They
themselves?
have to maintain the
They maintain
fields.
the
I was
fields.
And
involved
they,
in that.
they
yes.
have to do the lights as well, because that's
They have
why
to
they
do all the
haven't gotten the
maintenance,
lights.
DYSA has to do all the maintenance on that property.
Yeah,
I was part of that.
With the
Way
buil,
back
with
when.
the buildings and everything, right?
The buildings, anything on that property,
They're responsible
right,
for.
the park department, actually, owns that land, so DYSA
Yeah.
rents, leases from the park department.
And do we know how much they pay for that lease?
I don't,
No, but I'm
I don't know how much,
saying
it's minimal, it's
Oh, I know,
just,
but-
it's on, it's,
Yeah.
it's just to put it on record, and I believe the same thing with DYAA.
Okay.
Yeah.
so it's just
That a
important to
minimal
understand
cost,
the
but
lease.
it's a
I agree.
long-term.
Yeah,
And in exchange, they maintain the properties and
Yeah.
the fields. I can't speak on the DYAA directly, but the
Yeah,
DYSA.
no, that's helpful, yeah. So we'll get a copy of the lease, sort out term and responsibilities. Yeah, Jim?
What other renovations, restorations are contemplated for the fields or other facilities there?
Well, again, that brings us to the buildings, because they have buildings that they have,
Yes.
The
sell
building
hot
and
dogs.
the fields are.
Well, the fields, I think, maintained by the
They-
park department.
No, the
No?
park department doesn't maintain the DYA fields, the park department will plow the the parking lot,
Okay.
the park department.
But that, the building is, you know, a polling place too, so.
It's also as a polling place, right, so
Right.
in exchange, the town,
Right.
so it's also used as a polling, facility, so I think, I remember, there was an agreement that, you know, the town will take care of the parking lot in exchange for them using the building for a polling facility. So, it's been a good, long-term,
Yeah.
good, relationship between the
Yeah.
town and the DYAA.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in 99 movies.
Buddy.
Yes, John.
So the same question, what will happen? We can't fund it, how we partially fund it. You know, they need skin in the game, in my opinion. They're proposing that the town pay for anything. You know, they're a well-run oil machine over there. They should have some skin in the game on this project. The town, in my opinion, shouldn't be funding it all. I didn't see anything about rebates or incentives from the utility. Typically, utilities in the past have
For energy savings projects, yep.
funded lighting upgrades. I don't know if they're still doing that, but that has been substantial in the past. Again, I don't know, you know, I worked for the utility years ago. You know, things could be different now. Maybe they're not contributed anymore. But I did notice their lighting fixtures. So they're really doing some upgraded. So, you know, when you compare some of this old metal halide, like, you know, that's 70s vintage, 80s. You know, they've made substantial upgrades since then, that they probably could have gotten some monies for, you know, 30 years ago to upgrade high-pressure sodium. But anyway, they are looking at, when they compare, so in Field 4, for an example, they got lighting inventory. They're 18 1,000-watt lamps there, and they're replacing them with 18 1,600 watt. Now, watts is the amount of energy that fixture consumes.
Yep.
So LED is very efficient lighting. So what I'm seeing, they are gonna see a huge upgrade in their lighting
Yeah.
in those fields.
So they may
What
have
is
to
that?
like have a sunblock
Because
budget.
I'd like to see something in lumens, so high-pressure sodium, 1,000 watt, there's a measure of that. That puts out lumens on the ground. That's what you can physically see, and that can be measured. And depending on the activity, every activity, you know, scientists, you know, engineers will put together, well, you need so many lumens on the ground. You need so many lumens for a work table where you're doing, having a meeting. That exists for ball fields. So they're getting a huge increase in amount of lumens on the ground out there. What is that? What is the existing lumens? What is the proposed lumens? And does it have to be that high? You know, because, you know, again, wattage is what you, electricity is that being consumed. So, if you went from a 1,000-watt lamp down to a 200-watt lamp, that's a considerable amount of savings. But they're not even reducing it by half, and LED lights can do much, much better.
Yeah.
in,
So that's,
in settings. Again, I don't have a lot of experience with ball fields, but
Yeah.
but there is I appreciate your expertise in this. And so that'd be interesting to get, you know, what is the lumen, recommended lumen factor for an athletic field?
Or talk to us about the engineering of this. or-
yeah. What do they have now, and you know, somebody's looked at this, somebody from, you know, lighting companies put this together, they have that information, they know what, you know, the amount of lumens that 1,000-watt, I mean, that 600-watt fixture is putting out,
Yeah.
depending on the height. But they're not reducing a single fixture. they're replacing everything, and a lot of times when you do these upgrades, you can even reduce, not only you
Yeah.
reduce the amount of wattage you're using, but you can reduce fixtures, they're not doing that, so I'm a little bit puzzled by that.
Yeah, and that, I did not have the technical aspect of it, but, that you have, but the concept I
Yep.
had, because I was also interested in, you know, are they increasing the amount of area that's being illuminated? I think there are some parts of Crapo Field that don't have
I don't think they're
luminance.
increasing
I
the
don't know if
amount of
they're,
area,
if
they're
they're
just,
turning the lights and face on this pole, but now facing them one direction, a different direction, and illuminating more of the field, so, and then if there is this big increase in illumination, is there anything they need to think about in terms of a butter mitigation? Those are pretty high poles, and,
Well, it depends on what kind of lights, right?
Yes, exactly.
Usually they flood it down and stay down like
but
we
if
do.
it becomes very bright there,
Yes, right.
something that was okay for neighbors may not be okay anymore if it's,
I have witnessed these fights.
yeah, so just have they considered it?
Yeah,
Well, they did say the C2S Energy recommends installation of 600 watt to replace the 112 to 1,000.
right.
And you know, they give you it, the estimated annual savings for the 112 fixtures is 15,523 kilowatts. This is based on 364 hours per year. The actual savings can be greater with the available dimming features. And then for the 400 watt, they're recommending going down to 200 watt. So there are some, it's unclear the
Yeah.
112
this is
to
coming from a
1,000.
sales rep. Now, as a sales rep,
Right,
what do I wanna do? You
Yeah,
know, I
no,
wanna
I-
sell you fixtures, so I'm gonna replace fixture for fixture. If they had a lighting engineer go out there and can probably say, you don't need to replace
Yeah.
8 light bulbs with 8 light bulbs. You know, you need X amount of lumens on the field, you can do that with this new LED. I'm just,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
But that's,
so
it's more
you gotta consider the source when they say recommends.
uh-huh.
And, I've never seen this in a lighting retrofit, that they're replacing, every fixture. It seems like you could reduce some of those fixtures and still increase the lumens on the ground.
because of the type of lights you're using.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's.
LEDs.
LEDs are,
Great,
you know, a great lighting source,
Great.
you know, it's.
they're probably better than your flashlight. buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be fabulous, it's gonna be a big upgrade, you know.
Yeah,
put
oh,
in
yeah,
these
yeah,
LEDs,
definitely.
no question, I just question it.
I had, let's see, regarding the CS2, I have a question about, because they have, they have this estimate.
I mean, did this have to go out to, you know,
That's
bid
where,
and?
that's where I'm
and-
going, right. So I wanted to
Yeah.
know if they have a contract with CS2, and how is the contract awarded? Because there would have to be public bid requirements for this project. So yes, so I wanted to try to understand that.
I guess I had assumed that they were more of like an engineering firm, but it's,
I mean,
sounds like more that they're not.
It could be, you know, but, I think if they were, you'd probably see the term.
Right.
Is it required to do 3 bids though if they're a private nonprofit? In other words, if they're the ones, going back to your original comment, if it's not the town using the money, and it's the nonprofit using the money, I don't know if they have the same obligation. do they?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I
Our
don't know, or if
funds
they're
don't-
using CPA funds, that's gonna kick in, so that might kick in. It's actually the cultural center is, I think, struggling with that question. They thought getting a 30-year lease would relieve them of public bidding requirements, but now,
Do CPA funds
they're
on
getting
its
a
face
different-
have bidding
Really?
requirements though? Do CPA funds have bidding requirements though on its face?
yeah. Yeah, because they're considered public funds. so they kick in.
So I just Googled CS2 Energy. They are based in New Bedford, provides home energy efficiency services, including installation, air sealing, heat pumps, yada, yada, yada. Often through the Mass Save program, that's funded by us, utility customers. So you would think they know if there's anything available for this project.
Yeah.
Services, offices, energy audits, installation, heat pumps. I wonder, now looking at this, do they have a lot of experience? And, it looks like they do residential and some commercial. Do they have any experience with outdoor lighting and ball field lighting? And that's a specialty when you get into that. A lot different than home lighting, but anyway. So they're not, it appears they're not making money off of selling a light bulb. But again, I didn't see anything in here about any incentives from the utility and from anything from Mass Save.
And they describe in credentials, yeah, so I think of that question about other sources of funds. Under the credentials section, they indicate MCE and C2S Energy as licensed electrical contractor responsible for permitting and installation, and the general contractor. So that would suggest a contractor relationship. So we do have to check in on sort of how that, is that really a contract, or that's what they anticipate, but we have to consider the bidding requirements.
Yeah, we should look into, I did a quick Google search here. And basically it says, that applicants for CPA Massachusetts, applicants are typically not required to submit 3 bids at the time of the application.
Right.
So they should consult professionals to develop accurate budget, blah, blah, blah. Then it says procurement requirements for the actual work often depend on local municipal bidding laws such as 30B.
Yeah.
So again, then it raises the question, well, is this subject to 30B?
Right,
I don't know.
right. But we can get an answer to that.
Yeah.
Let's make that a question.
So they,
So
there is some,
that question will go to the town.
Yeah.
there is some energy efficiencies here, and they're claiming a $5,400 annual savings. And typically that $5,400, that's year one. Well, we know utilities go up every year, so, year two is the $6,000, year three. And again, they got no skin in the game. So, they're gonna see some savings on the project, let's contribute something.
In terms of the application itself, we do need them to fill out sections, the charts in sections C1, 3, and 4.
Yeah, they didn't put anything in there.
So you need to see that information. And you said that the ownership, the Parks and Rec owns this, what do they call, Chapter 91 kind of land? Is it 91?
It's
What's the Parks and Rec land?
Oh, I don't know, does Parks and Recs own the property?
think they
Joe?
do.
I think the
That
town
was
owns the
DYSA.
property, not the park department. Crapo Field?
Crapo Field is,
I think that's town-owned property.
that's town-owned property.
Right.
Okay, so we need
So
to,
Parks may help out with some maintenance over
We
there, but
help-
the
yeah.
town owns the property.
Parks has a piece of property behind the police station, but that's not, the Crapo Field is not, the town owns the property.
all right, so we'll have to, all right, so we need to look into that, because this is, let me pull this up for a sec. I have it here someplace. The ownership of the, and classification of the land does matter when it comes to rehabilitation.
So like the use of it in terms of recreation or whatever?
Yeah. I'll just confirm this. Okay, it's open space. It just says yes, but we'll just confirm that it doesn't have to be, that we can do this on property that may not be officially Parks and Rec property. That may be okay, but I'll just kind of confirm that it's not. I'll make a note, so that's the. So we'll confirm the ownership and then. All right, I'll just confirm that that's not going to be an issue. Okay. Anything else we have for this proposal? Okay. Very good. Then we have the Dartmouth Cultural Center.
I don't remember seeing this one,
You didn't get that one? That was up,
so.
anybody else not get that one?
I think Susan means
Yeah, I got it.
forward, don't you, Susan? You didn't see this at all?
No. I got 6. No, I got 5.
Oh, there should be a
Estimates it
6.
devolves. Or at least unless it got, because there was a whole series, so maybe I missed it.
We don't have an extra one around here, do we?
She has it in the
She has
packet.
one.
She says she didn't get it online.
She's got it.
Oh, you do have it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, in front of me, yeah, but I
Oh,
don't
oh.
remember seeing it,
Oh, got it. Okay, sorry, I missed that part.
yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay, this is for the renovations, restoration work at the Old Southworth Library. I had a number of questions here, but first off is, it says in the cover page, or at the top of page 2, the amount requested is $260,000. But the further into the proposal, it says it says 853,000. And so I am not sure.
Oh, yeah. Total project cost $853, and
Yeah,
that says CPA funds to be requested, $853.
Yeah.
That could just be a typo.
So we have to confirm that. What is it? Is it, because they show a gap of $853,000. in there, but if they're only asking for 260, that means there's about another 570,000 still in the gap. So I believe they are actually requesting $853,300. Where did I put notes on that?
Where do they stand with the current, like, can they have something current and open with us and still apply for another one?
Yes. And I have a nice little set of notes that disappeared on me somewhere. Yes, and so what I kind of look, so what's happened is they paused the work to get a 30-year
Right.
lease from the town, which is their hope was, or their expectation was that they would then not be subject to 30B. I think they are hearing something a little different from the town, so now we've had a change in administrations. So I think they may be hearing something different from the town about whether or not 30B can be waived for this. But, so no work has been done, and so this scope of work is essentially, I do not see a difference between this scope of work versus the one that was presented,
To us before.
except that it's 3 times more expensive. So it's gone up about 300% in terms of its estimate. And again, I'm somewhere, I did a nice job too in those notes. Wow, that's a bummer. But basically,
That them right there, upside down?
no, I said there's it's a second copy of another one, so I think I unfortunately
You probably
printed
put it in
2
another
of something.
file.
Yeah, it's in a bunch of paper.
Yeah.
However, just to give you a sense here of the, if you look at the estimate that they provide, you all have that?
No, I only got, no, I don't have that.
But
I don't think any of
Yeah,
it's
this is
true.
something that they sent over, this was the application, and then this is one of the
Is that a separate?
attachments, yeah.
I
How,
I don't have it either, mine.
how, it's just 2 pages, is that something could be made for folks? And, oh, you don't even want that one, because that's my wife's social security thing, she only needed 1 page.
do we remember how much they've been given in
Oh,
the
that's
past?
so
Was
funny.
it that scope?
Yeah, let's not send that around. That's
She
for,
wouldn't be-
that's for our
There'd be
taxes.
no more- There'd be no more cookies for you.
Yeah, that's it, boy.
Buddy, do you know how much they've been given relative to the scope that Susan mentioned? That we've given in the past to them? I
We've,
don't remember.
we have, 260,000 was the
260.
original grant to them.
Okay, that was the original.
And they have not,
Oh, so that's why we're probably,
why.
they
So-
probably
They
took
didn't
their.
change it.
Right,
Yeah.
I was
that's where
seeing
they
that up
came,
there.
but, yeah.
yeah,
So then I'm just, like, but didn't we award that?
yes.
Yes.
So I'm so confused about, like,
Where are they with that, right?
right, and like, why would you, I get that if the cost went up,
Yeah.
why would you submit for the, because this all sounds like the work that we were presented
Well,
with.
that's why I think
before.
that's a mistake. They actually are submitting for 853,000.
Right, but-
When you see their estimate, that you'll see,
On top of the 260 though, that we've already given, so that's, so now where's the
Correct, on
budget that
top of the
shows $1 million?
260. correct.
Well, I'm lost.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, what work's
They need
been
to
done, what
clarify,
hasn't
yeah.
been done, why would you put in for this, like, what?
This estimate, actually hold that, because this estimate that you all didn't get we when you look at that, you'll see how the figures work.
Okay.
So first, let's do that.
So the first thing is, can they submit a correct application with correct numbers in it?
Well, I
at
think
the
they,
next
they probably would
numbers,
say they did, it's just 3 years later, those numbers tripled is what they're presenting.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah,
they need to update the application to reflect that, because
well, that,
they're
that's,
saying the funds requested is $260,000.
Well,
That's,
that's what I
It says it right here. So the
Yeah.
total estimate's 1.2, then they're showing the matching funds,
Papers.
then subtracting the 260 they already got from us. Thank you.
right, no, I get that, but an application is being submitted this year. It should be correct,
Yeah.
even though
Yeah, yeah.
that,
correct,
we're
so,
getting a budget, but the application needs
A
to
big
be.
increase.
yeah, so the number on the, yeah, so the number on the application has to be 853,000.
Buddy, when they
300.
first came before us, the estimate was high, I remember, I don't remember what it
The,
was.
yes, the estimate before
Right.
was for, let's see, was $320,000.
Plus though, wasn't it?
Hmm?
Didn't they say they,
Because there was different phases,
Right,
right? So
that's
where are
right.
we in phases?
Yeah.
What was the
Six.
total
it
phase?
was different phases.
Right.
I would have liked to
But this
see like a
phase
summary.
was paused, right? So no work has been done. The only thing done is, you can see in their application, let's see, you'll see in their application where they indicate work that's been done. It is on page 6,
Probably design-
activity to date. So those are the expenditures to date. And so what you have is an original, when they, in 2023, this scope of work, an estimate that is going to be somewhere around $320,000, plus their work. I think it all ended up being something like $400,000, I think, something of that nature. And then work was paused, and they, $420,000 was the original in 2023.
So I would request something chronologically from
Yeah.
them. Because, not only for us, but town meeting, if this goes forward, town meeting's gonna be asking these questions.
Yeah.
anyway. So it's very confusing, because no one can remember dates, what's been spent, what's not been spent, but I think if we have something listed out chronologically, when was awards making, when was
Right.
expenditures taken, when was the pause,
Yeah.
just something that makes sense for us all, and,
Yeah.
Right. Because the 853 plus the 260, that's 1.1 million, over 1.1 million total.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we have a funding.
But this is what she's
So I've
got
looked at
here.
this, and the scope of work is pretty much the same. I don't see, but that's the thing to confirm, is there any
Yeah.
additional scope of work? But I don't believe so.
I think that's where the 260 comes, is
Right.
this is the former application.
Yes.
And they just didn't change it at the top,
October
like, so they haven't.
2023.
Correct. That was, yes, I think that was just a typo, and that they
Right.
didn't catch that. They kind of did, it was a cut and paste issue.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So, for instance, item 1, exterior, or item 1, the handicap bathroom, or access elevation, that kind of stuff. That was, I can see those totals. that all was like 70,000 plus, yeah, that was all $70,000 it originally. The exterior restoration piece was originally 150,000, it's now 320. Interior work was originally 100,000, it's now 350.
How old is that, Betty? I'm sorry, the original estimate that you're reading, how old was that?
So, let's see,
23?
2023.
2023.
3 years ago.
So what's interesting, and I think it's good to have for us, the finance committee and town meeting is, because of delays, the original estimate was X and now it's 1.273.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It shows the impact of
Delay.
delays and,
yeah,
if
Yeah.
you don't have the money, you can't spend it, but
yeah,
I know this organization was, it took forever for the select board to
Yes.
agree on a 30-year lease. And that should have been a no-brainer, one meeting, done.
Yeah.
But they dragged their
Yep.
feet and put those
yeah,
poor
it was not an
people
easy
through.
process, right.
And it shouldn't be a difficult process, It's just unfortunate. Look at that, because the town dragged their feet. Look at the cost now.
We need
Yeah.
that lease too, buddy. Don't you think?
Yeah,
What was the total cost, buddy? Before it was one, now it's 1,273,000. What was it in 2023?
and it was,
3 something.
let's see, including the architectural and engineering, it was at that time estimated at 420,000.
All in? Wow.
I think some of that interior stuff was more modest.
And there's
I
one
don't
difference I
remember.
want to kind of confirm, so their estimate 3 years ago was done by a company. I'm not sure who did this estimate,
Right.
so I think we should find out the source of this new estimate for the work.
I thought it was, 3 years ago it was that architect.
Yeah, they hired a company, what was the company?
Historical, yeah.
Olive Branch or
Right.
something.
Right. New
It was
Bedford.
another company, yeah.
Like the increase, I think, it says assuming prevailing wage, but not mass public bid. So I'm trying to remember the conversation around some of the cost increase could be that prevailing wage. Not just the,
Right?
Yeah, it's a good point. They may come back and say, yeah, originally our estimate didn't include wages,
Yeah.
and now it does.
Yeah.
so yeah, why did it, like, what is the cause of the significant cost increase would be, obviously, very important to know. And then just if they're submitting basically the same application they did in 2023, what is the protocol for, it's a proposal that was accepted and awarded, but I get that the price has changed, but like, what's the technicality of how you would submit? Because it's not really a new application, it's just saying, now the prices have gone haywire.
Yeah.
If it's literally copied and paste from 2023.
It's not a new application, it's like the same application, you're just asking for more funds for the same application.
Correct. It's kind of like doing like some of these housing developments that take a long time to finance and nail down the numbers. They've come back to us.
Right.
And we've entertained, but they're still separate awards, so we still have to
Okay.
go to town meeting.
I was just wondering what is the like logistical way that that's
Yeah.
supposed to work?
Yeah, so we'll still go to town meeting and awarding, an additional X dollars for the project. Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question, I don't know, maybe Buddy knows or Michael knows. They got a 30-year lease, and there was a reason they wanted a 30-year lease, okay? I thought one of the reasons was that they could borrow the money easier with a 30-year lease, okay? And also, with a 30-year lease, would prevailing wages still take effect? Because now it's a 30-year lease, it's a lot different.
I don't know on the wages front, you know,
Okay,
but definitely from a financing standpoint, yeah.
yeah,
Lender
that's
would
why
definitely-
I thought one of the reasons they wanted the 30-year year lease was because of financing.
Yeah, I think they thought there was gonna be financially in their
Yes,
favor. I
right.
thought it was the public bidding piece that they were hoping, the 30B requirement.
No, I
They
thought
were
it was
hoping, but
financing, but
I don't know,
who
if-
knows?
but I can check about
Right,
prevailing
okay.
wage too. So we'll just confirm whether,
Right,
and these questions will go to the town. So, does 30B apply to this project? Do prevailing wages provide this project?
And then, you know, are there any other, you know, they have a matching grant and they've spent some of that money. But are there any other grants available now that the price has increased?
Well, one of the things I saw somewhere in here, they talk about, or here, systems best aligned with the Commonwealth of Mass decarbonization goals. I know that there are decarbonization grants available at the state level through the Department of Energy. So I don't know if they've looked into this.
Yeah, we should just confirm on that, the existing Mass Historic Commission grant, is is that term still good, or has it been extended? We should probably get some evidence that 260 is still in place.
Oh, that's 160.
Yeah,
And it looks like they've
160, I'm sorry.
expended maybe,
yeah.
160, thank you.
yeah, they've only expended 29 of that, according to the yellow.
Get something in writing about that grant.
So if, I'm not really sure I fully understand the 260 that we've already awarded, is that going to the bid documents and the bidding process?
Yes, I think, so when they show in that yellow part, funds that have tapped, like we just signed off on $2,500,
Yeah.
that's from that 260. And it looks like at the time of this application, when they submitted it, previously $20,000 had been drawn down from the 260. And we should just.
Question, buddy,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I have is, will they provide a representative at town meeting to speak on their behalf?
Yeah, it's funny because on the scope of work on the estimated budget, it doesn't really have design services on it. It's all construction-related things.
Yeah.
So it is a fair question, really, because it's like, well, we're paying for design stuff now, if you look at spent to date,
Yeah,
but they're showing the 260 as part of this scope, which doesn't include design, so.
yeah, but no, it's got the architecture
Oh,
and
I'm sorry,
engineering in
I
it.
missed
Yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah,
A&E
yeah,
fees.
Yeah,
E and D,
Yeah, yeah.
yep, okay, I missed that, so there's 96,000 accounted for that, okay. All right.
okay, so we're gonna confirm the amount that they really need. Get a chronology, just walk us through. So originally, we had an award, there was a pause, there's been some money spent down, you know, just kind of, just walk us
The
through.
narrative with it, what, their reasoning, you know,
Yeah.
for the pause and,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yeah,
Clarify scope and
Yeah.
cost increase.
and then we really need to understand how this price has gone up. You know, what's driving such a big increase in the estimate, and who provided these numbers. We will check with the town about public bidding, the 30B application to this and prevailing wage rates. And then there's questions about other sources of funding for this project that they are looking at or talking about pursuing or are pursuing.
I mean, we've asked for every other project, where's the skin in the game?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that,
They did provide some on.
Yeah, to date, they've got
Yeah.
some Mass Historic Commission grants,
Yeah,
but
they had
now
a
they've
couple
got
of
a.
grants, so, yep.
Yep.
And they were taking funds from themselves, I thought I saw something. So, they did have skin in the game in the original application, but.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's more,
We'll get a copy of the
the,
lease.
Yeah. we
in
need a
3
copy.
years, it's tripled in price. And certainly, we all know things have gone up, but I didn't know construction costs had tripled in price in 3 years. I'm a little bit
Yeah. I did-
taken back.
I did
John,
kinda
the cost
look-
of material has really gone up.
Yeah, but I did look that up, but
Get it, but tripled,
right.
you know, I'm,
Mike, hasn't it really
I
fallen?
It
don't
has,
know.
but I mean, I'd like to hear the story too, because, I mean, I'm not seeing 200 or 300% increases.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm overseeing a project for my son right now that he built a house 2.5 years ago, he's building another one, and the cost weren't doubled or tripled from what we
Yeah.
did.
yeah, it just,
2.5
it does
years ago.
seem very
You know,
unusual.
no, yeah, there's been some
Yeah.
inflation, but, wow. You
Yeah.
know, were their estimates way off 3 years ago? Was that part of the
Right.
reason? And-
Might have been.
That's what we need.
And,
Yeah,
I have a feeling
it's
maybe it
important
was.
to understand that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, their estimates were way off.
yeah.
They do a nice job with that cultural center though.
Yeah, I mean, as a
Yeah.
project,
Another
definitely,
worthwhile
but we're
thing,
gonna have to,
and,
They do a
but,
nice job.
you know,
Yeah.
noted.
for me, it's, you know, it's transparency, honestly.
Right.
Their estimates were off, own it. You
Yeah,
know,
right,
Yes.
right, right, right.
and what
Doesn't
makes
mean
these,
my,
what makes
you know.
these better?
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just feel like we've seen more extensive documentation when projects are that big.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I
very
think
detailed.
we did on the first time. The first time they came, we had a really detailed,
Yeah,
really detailed.
yeah. Yeah, no, that is, it just jumps out at you. It's an unusual increase in costs. Okay. The Duval Field. The ball field, request for $575,000. Buzzards Bay is requesting this. And the town would, Conservation Commission has a letter in here saying they would hold the conservation restriction for this property if it went forward. Questions about this? And just the scope of this is, this piece of land
Right.
would be purchased, and the buildings on the land, which consist of a house built in the early 70s, would be demolished. So that it would be
What's demolished?
a house and outbuildings. So basically, it would be returned to just vacant, open space.
Is this gonna be tied into the playground?
Doesn't look like it connects there, because there is a house lot in between
Yeah.
the two.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see if it was gonna be connected to the playground, but you've got the river there too. So,
So they do say it's gonna be open to passive recreation.
They do, but they didn't go into any detail. So, you know, I like, it's a significant amount of money for a small piece of property, and, what I'd be curious to know, what are their true plans for it if they're tearing down a house, and, you know, will there be, for an example, a parking lot, will there be signage to indicate that the public is welcome here? Because to invest this kind of money and not, be welcome to the public, I have an issue with, you know, if it looks like private property. Because historically, that's always been private property, you know, no one's ever been able to walk out there and do anything with it, and so I'd like a little bit more detail on what they think they're gonna be doing with it as far as passive recreation.
Yeah.
Will there be, for an example, another, potential canoe and kayak launch site?
Yeah,
You know, there's one right around the corner, but, you know, what,
They did mention that, but in the goals, that there would be water access, but then I didn't see where that was laid out.
well, water action could be just for fishing, and I don't know, because I've never walked it. The drop off to the river there, is it ideal for fishing, or is there a wall, you know, where the town landing is, there's a wall all along there, other than where the ramp is?
ramp is, right.
It says,
So does that wall exist all the way up? On this property too, that there is no ramp for a canoe launching? It's those kind of questions. What are, you know, what are they thinking as far as,
Yeah, it just says,
Passive recreation.
provide much-needed public access to the front for outdoor passive recreation and enjoyments. So it doesn't,
so does, again, does that mean
So,
there's
yeah, I
gonna
don't know.
be picnic tables? Is there gonna be,
Yeah.
you know, a fire pit? But I'm just asking, you know,
Yeah.
how
And
welcome
this-
is this gonna be to the public? And will it be a park-like setting or just open space that you're gonna know it's, I can walk?
They talk about doing this art organization, kind of, so what would that look like? Will there be kind of some installations there on the property, you know, outdoor kind of sculpture-y things, or,
that's what it sounds like, is
yeah,
some sort of art
trying to get a
installation.
little bit detail.
you also have next, well, not next door, but across the river, but, you know, you also have a launching, and you also have the child
Oh,
paths and
yeah, there's a
stuff.
lot there already, you know.
Right, that
just,
you
know, so
already
let's
have
look.
use. But you have that little tennis courts.
Oh, right, we have a little playground and tennis
Your
court.
tennis
Yeah.
courts, the playground, what we just
And-
revamped.
And that's
we just did that.
a functional launch place.
Right.
I-
Everybody goes down there in the summer.
Yeah.
Everybody launches their canoes and boats down there, because
Mm-hmm.
I go by it all the time.
I do. It's great.
Yes, and so, you've got that right there. I mean, if you just got a piece of land, you got something that everybody, the neighborhood and people from New Bedford, when they have the daffodils, people come.
Yep.
So you've got that right there already.
Yeah, will they provide parking? If there's gonna be public access, is there gonna be
Right.
parking
think
on
parking's a
site?
great question.
Because that's a difficult place to
That is.
park if you,
So what I'm confused, in their, page 9, they, go over expenses, 780,000 total, 575, okay, I'm getting it now, from CPA, and then 205 from other. Doesn't say what the other source of funding is.
I thought I saw that they're
It
they're
said
raising
private.
that fund.
So what?
Private funds or fundraising?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they say that that funding is secure, like that's
Right.
checked as yes.
And, you know, they certainly are putting skin in the game, so I appreciate that. But where is that coming from? I'm just curious.
I just think that's a lot of money. We don't know exactly what they're gonna use the land for. And as I said, we have the park that's there, that a lot of people use now. But there's parking right there, you know, at the park.
Well, they got a curb cut, you know, so
Right.
can they provide some parking, how they can do that? And,
Okay.
There's not-
Looks like from the aerial, there is a stone wall along
It is.
along the river, so yeah, I don't think they're gonna do another canoe launch. Oh, no, that's the other parcel. Or is it? No, that's their parcel they're talking about.
But
Yes,
there's three
so the other
parcels for
park is
this
right
land.
down here, right? That's where the,
yeah.
Person,
That's
yes,
right there.
park, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of parking there in the
No,
Russell's
there
Mill.
isn't.
There's not.
And you really,
And
it's dangerous to walk from that, the
It
real,
is.
to the park up to that.
it really is.
Gonna allow for
sidewalk,
passive or active recreation there, like you said, fishing or canoeing?
During the daffodil days, they have police there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all kinds of people
And I
there.
don't know what the terrain is between the dam and this property. Will there be a walking path over to the dam? Or is that terrain won't allow it? I don't know what the elevations are there. But that's a nice feature. You know, you get out and walk around, and if you could
Yeah.
walk across the street easily to the dam.
We want to kind of know more specific on how this property could be used, how the public would have access to it.
Yeah.
Particularly, will there be a parking area on the property for the public to be able to access this parcel? In terms of the logistics of this, I think the way we outlined this, I'm a little surprised they didn't, since they went to Conservation Commission, they didn't already be advised on this, but the award really has to go to the town.
The town,
It can't go to them.
conservation,
And that was the
yeah.
whole point of like rethinking, you know, about,
Mm-hmm.
we gotta, the steps are different than we have in the past, so, I believe, so for,
So the
so
town
that it's the
owns it.
Conservation Commission
They
that
hold
gets the money,
Yeah.
CPA money, that they will then use to purchase the conservation restriction from Buzzards Bay. That's the way this works. We can't give, the town cannot give money to Buzzards Bay
Right.
to purchase.
Yeah.
You, and then Buzzards Bay give, right, that was the whole thing, we had to reorder the steps. The state rejected the idea of give Buddy the money, $100, and then, you know, Buddy will give John the CR. Say, no. Buddy buys the property,
Right.
John buys the CR. That's how it works. That's how you know that John had money in this. Otherwise, it just looks like we gave Buddy a bunch of money.
So the town has to be the one buying the property then,
Buying the restriction.
buying the restriction. So who's buying the real estate then?
So Buzzards Bay is, what they have to do is buy it and then turn around 20 minutes later and sell that CR for $575. So they have to, at least for the first 20 minutes of the transaction, have have $725,000. And then they turn around and they close on the conservation restriction for 575. But,
Interesting.
yes.
They have a PNS right now with
Yeah.
the seller.
Yeah, because
For that amount.
what the state was saying rejected was how we've done it before, which is, okay, I'm gonna go buy the property, now state, you're gonna give me 575 for the conservation restriction, but the state was basically saying, well, the state can't buy it from Buddy because Buddy doesn't own the property. You can't give him the 575 for a conservation restriction because he's not giving you the restriction. He has to own it, then he has something he can sell to you.
I see.
So it's, well, it's just, technically, you have to do it in that order. But that means Conservation Commission has to get the money.
Okay.
So, I'll reach out to, Cody about that and just also let them know but my understanding was we amend the application to add the Conservation Commission on as a co-applicant, I think is the way you would do that. And the award, if the town meeting, if it goes in front of town meeting, the award is to Conservation Commission, Town of Dartmouth, for the purpose of purchasing a conservation restriction on X piece of property, Duval Field. That's how it would work.
Where are you seeing the purchase and sales agreement, Buzzards Bay? There's a purchase and sales
Yeah.
agreement, but it's not, it's,
Oh, it's between Buzzards Bay and the owner, and the seller. The,
Yeah, this
Yeah.
art organization came in and bought the
right, and
property.
they bought it, yeah.
Probably they basically just
oh,
bought
so
it
this
to
is
hold on
an
to it.
old agreement then?
No, the art organization bought the property,
Right.
probably because the owner wasn't gonna wait.
Oh,
And then, with the understanding that they had another written agreement with Buzzards Bay, that they would then sell the property to Buzzards
Okay,
Bay.
then they'd sell it, okay.
Oh, all right.
I will,
Because I'm reading the purchase and sales agreement now.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, okay, I just see this, yeah.
yeah,
Personal representatives for Priscilla C.
Right.
Duval, AKA.
and her husband was Chief Duval from the fire district, okay?
Okay, and it just says agrees to sell to Buzzards Bay Coalition, so that's what I read, and then
Right.
nonprofit.
But that Mass, whatever it was, the art place,
So there's another party involved here then?
I think
they-
so.
They,
there's a
stepped
go-between.
in.
Yeah,
They must have assigned this purchase and sale over to them. They must have then
Right.
executed and bought it, and now they're gonna
sell it.
sell it back for the value.
That's
of
right,
everything.
for
Okay.
725,000.
Interesting.
So, well, I'll confirm with the town that they need to join this application. Also have it, another question I had, will a demolition permit be needed for this? Since I think the property was built in 1972, it may be right on the cusp of
50 years,
the historical commission needing to
right,
approve the
50 years.
demolition. So we'll get confirmation of that, and then, you never know. I don't know the property, or
I do.
1972, I think I was in middle school, so I don't feel too historic about that. But you never know,
I know, 50 years doesn't seem like much anymore.
But if the structure is,
Sorry, Susan, it doesn't.
yeah,
Well, I'm classified as a
75.
historic.
I'm being kind of whispered, it's 75 years now. not 50. Well, then I'm okay.
there you go, okay. So the question would be, if the structures can't be, let's say confirm whether or not they need a demolition permit to remove the structure
You would
from the
need it.
historical
Oh,
commission.
not from that, yeah.
And if by chance they aren't removed, how does that impact the project? And I think, John, should we add that, if you don't get all the money, how will that impact the
Right,
project question?
The structures are definitely under the purview of the Historic Commission for demolition. Those, they're older than 75 years, so.
The house,
I'm not sure if it is. I think it was
No.
built in 72.
yeah. You know, yeah,
Oh, it was built in that?
yeah.
That's what they
And
say.
the garages too?
I don't know about that, right?
Yeah.
Been
Oh,
there.
I
interesting.
don't know,
Just-
yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was much older piece of
Well,
property.
we could, we can always ask down,
Yeah.
the assessors to
That's right.
just get a field card.
And they say they're pursuing other funding, so we can get the, we can ask what the status is of their efforts to secure other funding for this.
I'd be curious to know how their, what their maintenance plan is. Do they plan to mow the field as a lawn? Do they plan
yeah.
to cut the field annually? You know, what's their, or let it go and to a natural state? I'd be curious to know.
But
I mean,
then you
it kind of
put,
sounds like that's the goal.
I don't know, if you let it go to a natural state and let the public go on it,
Yeah.
then you've got problems with ticks and things like
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, but that's, Buzzards Bay Coalition's got that all over the place. I mean, they have woodlands that's got ticks, so
Yeah,
I
but
don't
they
think
have to
that's an
have-
issue for, I'm just curious, what's their intent? Will they,
Yeah.
do they plan on maintaining it as a park? Do they plan on maintaining
Yeah,
it as
because
just?
that'll be factored into the CR. So that's a good question.
Oh.
You know, is it gonna be is a landscape going to be preserved as is? So, as is means it's not, it's just a grassy
Yep,
piece of land. Or is it gonna be allowed to
have picnic tables and stuff
go
like
back to
that,
some other
you know?
state with some, so, yes, we need to get
Yeah.
clarification of that.
You look at it, I mean, look, you put some park benches along the river there, what a great view, looking up the river from that vantage.
Great little
point.
site
But is
for-
that their intent?
Right,
When they
but
say
it's a great
passive
little site
recreation,
for
all
public
they say,
access.
No, we're
when
not
you
gonna do
think
that,
about
you
it.
can just
Yeah.
stand there and look up the river, but I'm just curious
Yeah.
what their intent is. Yeah.
Yep. Any other questions on this? I did look, the appraised value with the CRs, is something like 50,000 or so. So their appraised value of the conservation restriction, I think, is $603,000 or something like that.
Yep, yep.
And by practice, we, see, 630.
Right,
And by practice, we have not wanted to provide CPA funds that were greater than the valuation of the CR. So some towns have a little leeway, but that's historically been our practice, is to stick with the appraised CR value, or less. Okay. No further questions, let's move on to the Pascamanset Valley. Could someone pass me the fudge, please? It's Bucky's time. Okay. Okay. And are these all
There's the
the, for the
tax.
pass?
I wondered where it
Yeah,
went.
okay,
So when this, when you see this.
There's a passing tax.
okay.
Evaporation.
Okay. The Pascamanset Valley Conservation Project, a request for $1 million to acquire 29 acres. Actually, it's, let's see. This would be the, yeah, this would be Buzzards Bay would like to acquire this property. The town, well, this is where it's not clear. About the conservation. So one thing I did notice, this is the old application. So it's not the application that was revised and put on our website. So what's missing is the language around the CRs for open space. So, this project does need, we need something in writing from the Conservation Commission. We need to know who's holding the conservation restriction. Actually, it has to be the town. So we need something in writing from the Conservation Commission indicating that they will hold the conservation restriction. We will need an appraised value of the CR. And I'll write to Cody this, again, the town would need to join this application as a co-applicant in order to be the recipient of CPA funds.
So this is like half of the old Hawthorne Country Club, the golf course,
Yeah, looks like it.
and the other half is gonna be a subdivision?
It's a 40B, yep.
So I didn't know that,
I didn't either.
So did they sell, did the golf course, did they sell this and then,
I don't know.
like, I'm just wondering if they subdivided the lot, or if it was already
Right.
subdivided.
That's a question, does this lot have to, what we're looking at, does that require a subdivision of the parcel?
Yeah.
Subdividing the parcel, yeah. That's a good point.
so to say who owns it now?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think this Bliss Investors,
Right, list investors.
So they must have bought the entire site. This must be the development team that bought it, right?
I don't know, because I think Bliss
No, I
Investors.
think it's still
Yeah, I think Bliss Investors
under
was
one
the old,
owner,
was the old
Well,
owner.
that's the old owner,
I
okay.
think so. So I was kind of confused when I saw this, because, so
Yeah, it
the
is.
27 acres, it's a little confusing.
Says it will acquire a 29-acre portion of the larger, approximately 56-acre property.
Conservation, they're buying that 29 acres surrounding, if it goes through, then that 40B with 147 houses on it. So then the rest of it's gonna be conservation. That's kind of cute.
That's what, keep the values up.
I don't know. That's a big subdivision. I don't recall them, I don't recall it being subdivided. I'd have to look, you'd have to look.
Yeah, that would have come before the planning board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't recall
Right.
seeing, I don't remember this, I would have remembered
Would have
this.
remembered that.
I would have
Yeah.
remembered this, yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
I'm-
so that's the question, has the property
Right.
been subdivided?
yep.
I mean, I've only been out once or twice, but I would have heard about this, I think.
Bless you.
So this 29 acres that I'm looking at would not have any street frontage. Am I correct in looking at that?
Yeah.
Looking at this plan? There's no street frontage on this plan.
I think that's
No.
correct.
So they would just let this get reforested, it says.
Right. So if there's no street frontage on this plan, how would the public access this?
I'm gonna write that down.
I'm a bit puzzled because they talk about passive recreation
How?
for this site, and one of the hourly
Right.
Access.
meet the goals, and they describe, in our CPC plan, goal number 3, to provide a range of active and passive recreational facilities and programs that address the changing population. So, a range of active and passive. So passive recreation is you can walk. Active
Yeah.
recreation is ball fields and, well, if it's gonna be, if they're claiming they're gonna meet the goal of as an active recreational area, how do they do that with no frontage, no roads, no parking?
The only people that are really gonna be able to access that is if the 40B goes in, because they'll abut it directly. That's it. I can't see how you're gonna let, on 29 acres, the other people come unless you have some sort of easement with that first parcel, the 27-acre parcel, which I'm sure you're not gonna get because of what's going there, or hopes to go there.
So a question is, we always, when we
already been
contribute
about this.
funds to a piece of property, is, does the public have access
Right.
to it? Where is that
Yeah,
access?
how's that gonna
Are
work?
they gonna secure some deed restrictions through the Hawthorne development?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where, and I don't know if that is gonna be a private roadway or a public roadway. I have no idea if that's been determined yet. So if it's a private roadway,
Yeah.
how do I, as a member of the public, access this conservation area? I don't see anything on the other side from Fairway Drive. There's certainly no, now Fairway Drive is a private road. So even that,
Well, there's talk now about the subdivision 40B having access to Fairway Drive, and I think I haven't followed it exactly, but I think there's a little argument about that.
well, they do, you can see it.
Yeah, but I don't know that they can
What,
access
yeah,
that.
how, they have frontage on
I know
Fairway
they have
Drive, whether, what
frontage.
kind of access that
Right.
means is a whole nother thing. I
That's
know
right.
they've argued over that, but, again, how does the public gonna access this conservation?
I don't know how they'd ever get in there. Swim, maybe, I don't know.
On the north side, there's that strip of what is marked Concom,
Right,
and that appears to be contiguous to Country Club Boulevard. Is that a private road?
I don't know.
So you
Country
can
Club
see.
Boulevard is a public road. Country Club Boulevard is a public street. That's interesting.
Yeah. So,
Definitely.
Country Club Boulevard abuts the Concom property.
You
Is
could,
that where they're claiming access is gonna be?
that's.
But if this is gonna be an active recreational area, there's no parking there, there's no.
You'd have to provide parking and, yeah.
I suppose, it prevents further growth of the subdivision, right? Like phase 2 of a future subdivision.
I don't know it's a 40B now, so if they were gonna do another phase, I think they would have to state that. I don't know, Michael, you would know
No, I don't
better
mean
than
like right now, but I mean like in the future, if this wasn't conservation land, if it
Ju-
wasn't
it-
protected or restricted.
Right.
Someone whoever, like the developer may be able to hold on to that parcel with the intention in the future to do something to it down the line. So I mean,
I'm surprised that the developer's given up this property, other than it can't be developed. you know, why?
That wasn't a condition at the meetings, was it? or anything
I
like
didn't
that?
go.
I'm just wondering if like that came up as like a conversation piece, like, you know, oh, we'll give back half the site as conservation land.
Yeah, but they're not
Not
giving
giving
it.
it.
They're not giving it.
It's really
They're
not.
being bought.
Do they need some of that money to help with the development? Or is it, I mean, it's hard to see, but is this
Yeah.
lower and it's in the floodplain and therefore
Well,
can't?
that's what I'm wondering, if it's
Right.
not,
Buildable.
if it's not buildable, so, because if it was,
He
I
would-
think
They
they'd
would
be,
keep it.
this would be
Right.
phase 5 and 6, you know, I think they're
Yeah.
proposing 3 phases, this would be 4,
Right. Be
5, and
bigger.
6, you know, so.
So I think these are all
It's-
good
it's-
questions
yeah,
for them when
what's-
they come
what's-
next month and
what
just kind
is
of
going on here?
flush out the
They wouldn't be
logistics
selling
of,
it.
Quite buildable.
of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's one map that talks about zone 2. I'm guessing that's floodplain.
Yeah.
And it is outside of that
Oh,
area.
okay. And to your point, Buddy, does the if this is gonna be a deed restricted parcel, do they need to also be in party to this application? Same on the other one, you know? like
Correct,
the-
yeah, it'll be the same situation, yeah.
Same situation.
Oh, and, okay.
So do I want to, I've written this broad question of, so how will public access be provided? Also, there's a question about
Ownership.
whether this parcel needs to be subdivided, and if that's happened, or when will that
Yeah.
happen? Are there other more specific things that
Yeah,
should be asked?
defined, passive recreation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, defined types of passive recreation.
What uses are contemplated?
Is it just a walking trail,
We're supposed to be responsible
or is it
for it.
more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right,
Didn't know anything about
right after the elevator.
Okay.
So a question is if the properties, how they gonna maintain it? Currently,
I see, yeah.
it's,
right.
it's being mowed. So is the plan to maintain it in its current condition? Is the plan to let it go back to its natural state?
It does say a little bit about that. It says, following BBC's acquisition of the property, BBC will restore the landscaped features of the property to facilitate reforestation throughout the property. BBC will also establish passive recreational trails and related amenities, appropriate signage, benches, et cetera, with the possibility for connections to adjacent and protected lands.
The
Oh, that's good.
access, right? Like, how do you-
But where's that access gonna be from?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no
Such-
access.
Yeah, such restoration, ongoing management, and upkeep of public access amenities will be overseen by BBC professionals, restoration, and land management staff, supported by a dedicated network of local volunteers. It doesn't define the public access, it just says they'll maintain it. But, yeah, we don't know what it is.
There's a beautiful trail to the river down there that goes to the bridge, there's a bridge.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That
It's
was one of
just
the-
two beams
One of the
going across it,
earliest,
but, it's pretty cool.
PPC
I can remember
projects, yeah.
Finding that when I was a kid and thought it was the neatest thing ever, you know, that was,
Yeah.
it's, be nice to have continued access to down there.
I don't know how nice it's gonna be with 147 houses right next door.
And it is a 50% match with $1 million private
Yeah.
fundraising donations, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, no,
I presume that that's probably a donation from the neighboring development.
I would think.
None of our business, but maybe it is worth a question, just to say,
Yeah.
where's that million?
Yeah. Yeah, we can ask, what are the others, what's the source of the other funding?
Yeah. To know that it's how secure it is, you know?
Yep.
That's all I can think of.
So we don't,
And we don't have any proof of assessment, right? So who,
well, I was gonna say,
No,
there's
we
no
need an,
purchase and sales or
Right, so who-
agreement on any of this,
Yeah.
right?
who's assigning the value here?
Right, so we need
Who's
an
that?
appraisal, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We need a purchase and sales agreement too.
Yeah, just want to understand kind of the structure, the
Right.
ownership structure and all that, you know.
This is all nice, but it's not anything that we could. Moving along.
Very confusing.
It is.
Okay, my notes.
Any other questions on this one? Okay, we'll ask for an appraisal. We'll definitely, you know,
And a purchase and sales.
yep, and a purchase, right, yep, purchase and sale. All right, very good. And there are a bazillion letters of support, rather than give everybody, and a form letter, pretty much, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So, signed by easily a couple of dozen people, so. but we
For
we
that-
spared
for that
making-
one?
Yeah, we spared making copies for everybody.
I'm curious to know what their maintenance plan is for being adjacent to a high-density development.
Right. I'm wondering, and, oh, just tell me to be quiet, but I'm wondering what that effect would have on the 40B, because you're gonna have a lot of children on that, if it goes through, you're gonna have a lot of children at that 40B. And they're gonna jump over a fence and go down to the river. No, I'm just thinking of safety,
Yeah, yeah.
okay?
But aren't kids supposed to do that? Like it's a recreation, it's a
Yeah, that's what-
recreation area.
Right, that's what
Isn't
passive
that like,
recreation is, yeah. you
go get
gotta-
lost in the woods, kids?
Right, I think that's great that kids will have, but,
But it has to be safe.
you know, kids will be kids, and
Right.
teenagers will be teenagers,
That's
and they
right.
abuse things, and they
Right,
take
they
advantage
have
of
to.
things. And it's
Yeah.
gotta be maintained, because
Yes.
when it's not, it becomes ugly.
That's right.
Right.
Listen, we used to do, there's big things speaking now about how parents don't let their children do that stuff, okay? Well, I did it. All I'm saying now, with that kind of housing there, and you're gonna have a lot of children there, you have to have some kind of control, Susan. I mean, you have to know if there's paths, if there's gonna be, you know, you have to be careful, you have to be safe, because not everybody uses their head.
So, Buddy, we got letters of support, but I don't see those, you said there's a whole list of
I don't-
Oh, yes, so,
support? We didn't get a copy
Yeah,
of
we
that.
didn't.
did we?
no,
see
just
any.
because there were so many, and there's a form letter, we spared you that, but if you want to look at the list of people who provided, but it's a form letter. But we can pass that
Sure, I will.
around.
I'm just taking a look.
Sure. Okay, we have one more proposal. This is the Farmlands Conservation Fund, and,
I'll scoot, I just wanna look at this.
yes, yes, we can accommodate you.
Is this the letter, or this is, oh,
Mostly farm
each, they
letters,
each
yeah.
did their
Yes.
own, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Duly noted for
Officially
the,
recusing myself.
yeah, duly noted for the record, Ms. Murray is stepping aside from the committee table to join the audience.
I'm even gonna scoot outside.
Buddy left on that.
Taking full advantage, she's going
So
outside.
that one was gonna be,
Okay.
That's what I used to do too, in the planning board.
these are all butters.
So the Dartmouth Farmland Conservation Fund, it's a multi-year request, the initial year, $1.5 million to capitalize the fund, and then in the next 3 subsequent years, $750,000 each year.
So just a quick question for you, Buddy?
Yeah.
'Cause I think you'll know the answer to this. So if this were to be approved at town meeting as proposed, then that means that basically they wouldn't have to come back for another 3 years. So it'd be like, we'd be forward committing 750.
I believe so. We haven't done that in Dartmouth,
Each
but
year.
I believe, right, I believe you can make those forward commitments subject to available fund, kind of a clause sort of thing, but
Right, so
I
town
believe
meeting
so.
would just be voting this one time for the next 3 years, this full amount of whatever it is, 375, over that period of time.
Right, I mean, we could choose, and this is gonna be up to us how we wanna approach that. Either to go to town meeting with that full 4-year, commitment or, go with, we could choose as a committee to accept the application, but choose to submit separate warrants.
At subsequent town meetings.
Without having to reapply to us, but we would just
Right.
separate, apply, choose to submit a warrant for each year for a vote.
So would this be similar to the Conservation Commission, similar to what we were talking about with the open space, where they would be buying a conservation restriction, but instead of a conservation restriction, it would be an agricultural restriction? Is that sort of what the funds would be used as, or is it actually?
Well, that's what we-
Or is it real estate dollars to buy land? That's what I'm trying to figure out,
You could use them as CPA can be used, so either.
either or, okay.
Yeah, you
And
can-
and again, I guess I'm not
Yeah.
clear what the proposal is to be used for. I think.
Yeah.
Just as a question for me to clarification, that
Yeah.
it's to buy that restriction piece, but maybe it's not, maybe it is to buy the land, I'm not clear.
Yep, so it probably, in the goals and description area,
Right.
section 1,
Yeah.
we would want to see a more precise or clear description of
Yeah.
the scope of how CPA funds would be used.
Because it just says to conserve and protect scenic qualities, and then objective is to protect, preserve, and conserve, scenic forest land.
Bless you.
But I don't know what
Yeah.
that means.
Yeah, and I think if we, in noting that, get a more specific description of the scope of how the CPA funds would be used, and tie that, or just make sure it's consistent also with the state statute that allows for such a fund, which is Chapter 40, Section 8L. If I can phrase a question like that. So,
Yeah.
so you want to see, because we're looking at two things. One, that's the CPA funds are used for the kinds of things they can be used for CPA, but that's also consistent with the state statute for the fund itself. I mean, they'll overlap pretty much, but we just want to be sure of that.
So, this is really, really stupid question, but because of past history with certain farms, if they were to purchase a farm with this money, which they're going to, okay?
Yeah.
What kind of deed restrictions would the CPC be able to put into those, so we don't have any problems with the use? Would it be in perpetuity? We have to know about the deed restrictions when they purchase a farm. Would they have to come back to the CPC and say, here's the deed we're buying, we're gonna sell this to Joe Schmo, and here's the deed? So, I don't know, I
I don't
mean,
know, that's a question, yeah.
that's my concern. I want it to be used as a farm.
And then, again, this just shows a little bit of my ignorance in asking the question, but so the Farmland Conservation Fund is what we're really, so it's, the Agricultural Commission's gonna oversee this Farmland Conservation Fund, I think.
Yeah.
And then that money goes in that, and then the Agricultural Commission would then make decisions on how that money is spent
Yeah.
over time for different projects. So then, and again, it just goes, assuming that those projects would also, to your point, qualify for CPA-related
Yeah. Yeah,
goals and objectives.
yeah.
so that way, you know. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the last time that we spoke, I guess there was this agricultural commission before, and I don't know, did they have any money left in it?
But the Agricultural Preservation
Right.
Trust.
Trust.
I can't remember, there may be a little bit, but not much. And.
Yeah, we'd want to
that-
know what's,
Right, that trust can't receive CPA funds. That's why this fund
but
is.
can that trust put money into this fund?
I will ask that question. I think the
How
answer.
much is there, and can they
I
transfer
think the
it
answer
over
is
to
yes,
this?
but I'll
Yeah,
ask that
we could
question,
get
yeah.
that. So Buddy, so the Ag Commission is not the responsible party to disperse the funds. They're setting up, they call it a group of 10, but they, and they're trustees, what is the trustee, what is that name?
Yeah, so I
I
have
need to
some,
find out a little bit better that the Ag Commission is not awarding these funds. It's this group of 10 who, what is
Yeah.
that group of 10 called? Does that have to be an official name and, you know,
yeah, so actually, I think
an
that's
official
where.
commission, official committee?
Yeah, I think that's where the description in the application doesn't square with the statute of section 48L. So, I think what we'll need is a rewrite of the description section of the fund. So it's not only the scope, but also being really clear about the roles and responsibilities. So only the Ag Commission can make decisions about the fund. So the only decision-making body in the fund per statute is the Ag Commission.
About
So.
This
other-
fund?
Yes,
I'm-
the fund that we're being requested to capitalize. Only the Ag Commission can make decisions about that fund, because the state statute only allows the Ag.
So what's the group of 10's role
Right.
then?
Well, that's why it has to be rewritten.
Yeah.
So the trustee group can advise and make
But
recommendations.
that's it,
Well, an advisor, do you have any standing? I mean,
right.
what happens when there's a conflict?
Well, the Ag Commission,
Are
there's
they
only one
just-
decision maker. Yeah.
Right, so they're only, so I'd like to know the definition. Are they only a recommendation and the Ag Commission can adhere to the recommendation or ignore the recommendation? I'd be curious to know what the intent is there.
Yeah, 'cause I think we just get
Because-
a rewrite of that, yeah.
You know, I was comfortable when I first heard about that because of the group of 10 who is going to be a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
That can really vet the project and not have special interests. The
Yeah.
Ag Commission has obviously got special interests. Well, this group of 10 doesn't have special interests, and hopefully the project, because of it, will get well vetted. And, ooh, this really changes things for me, because that's what, we're setting up another, well, we're not, you know, this is a CPC group. I mean, so they're bypassing the CPC, who was a well-diverse and who vets these projects.
Well, one of the things too, I think under number 4 in credentials, it does have Community Preservation Committee listed. It says the CPC will participate in decisions to allocate funds from the Farmland Conservation Fund. So again, I think just to clarify the logistics of
Yeah.
who's doing what the involvement is, I think would just be helpful to understand what the thought process is.
Yeah, and so and that's why I think that this section needs to be rewritten.
Yeah.
Because, to be consistent with the law. Because
Okay.
if it's not consistent with the law, it's not eligible for CPA funds.
Right.
So, and this is the 8L Municipal Agricultural Commission section of Chapter 40.
Okay.
So, And then it talks about the commission, and the commission can have a fund, and the commission can do these things, et cetera. I think the proposal is going the extra mile
Yeah.
to address John's concerns, which is, like, that is a really good model to have all this other input.
Yeah.
It's just that the hands are tied by the law. You can't, in terms of like who makes the decision, that's out of everybody's hands.
Right.
But this proposal does take that extra mile to try to compensate for that, I think, and say they're gonna use this advisory committee, which I think is fine, and I think actually makes it a more palpable for all the reasons John described. It's just they can't make them the decision makers. They don't have the authority to do that.
Right, but for our decision to initiate the seeding of this fund, we have to know, to your point, that if it's following 8L of
Yes. Yeah.
of the law, of the CPA
Yeah.
laws, right?
So it should, the rewrite of the description should be really clear that this is a fund set up pursuant to.
Right.
This exact chapter. Because that's gonna tie us in down the road in terms
Yeah.
of what town meeting is actually giving money to. It needs to be clear that the agricultural commission is making the decisions, and then there's this trustee group that is advisory. I think the CPC needs to be removed from this description. We don't have any role in this. It is, we're capitalizing funds and the town, not CPC, the town by capitalizing it is delegating that authority to the commission.
But we would still be receiving in your reports. or
Yes,
Whatever.
information, yes.
show
annual
the
reports,
progress.
But we're not making decisions. We're not weighing in
So,
on specific
in-
project decisions.
We asked for examples, so
Yeah,
my understanding of Anita's is that it prevents delays on a piece of
Yeah.
farmland coming up,
Right.
and you gotta wait for
Right.
CPC to approve, you gotta wait for the application, CPC gotta approve it, and then you gotta wait for town meeting, so that could take
And it gives
months.
some
And if there was a
predictability.
fund at a time, that could do it
Yeah.
much quicker.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
can they name some examples that because we didn't have a fund, that we'd lose
yeah.
any farmland? What did, a number of years ago, John Horan proposed a fund for something, I think for the town to purchase land for any reason, I think like that. And-
That came before us, or with,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like
Well,
a
it came
conser-
before town meeting.
it was, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and I remember I got up at town meeting and spoke against it because, he couldn't name one example of the town lost a piece of property because, it had to go to town meeting or 61A wasn't involved and the article failed.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, we're setting up, we already have a mechanism to buy farmland, that's CPC.
61A.
or
it's a-
So
town
we're
meeting.
setting up
Right.
a quicker, but can they name examples where it
Yeah.
it didn't work?
yeah, yeah.
And then, under item 4 on page 4, they talk about credentials, they say the CPC will participate in decision to allocate funds from the farmland conservation. Planning board will participate in decision to allocate funds from the, Dartmouth Natural Resource will participate. So.
They'll have to be
what are they-
removed.
Are they setting up this bureaucracy where they're gonna be, even worse off of where they are, where they only had to come to one group or two groups, town meeting and us?
No, but we can't do
No,
that.
so I think what the request needs to be is to rewrite
Right.
the credential section as well, and remove DNRT and the planning board
Board.
and CPC, so that it aligns with the
And
statute.
clarify, what's the intent,
Yeah.
what's the commission intent gonna do if they got if they're only a recommending authority? I'm a little
Well, the
concerned.
commission is deciding, the commission is going the extra mile and putting together an advisory group to its work. So the commission will be the decision-making group by law. they can do that.
Right, so then, that's my, so what's the role of the group of 10?
Yeah, so we can have that clarified.
If, you know, the Ag Commission is hell-bent on buying this farm, doesn't matter what the 10 think. I'm just hypothetically, I'm not,
yeah.
you know, I'm not.
No, that's
you know, I'm not
hypothetical.
criticizing volunteers,
I
I'm
don't-
just saying it's.
Probability is low, but
You know, I know it's,
hypothetically possible.
anyway. And then I also, the commitment to a 4-year plan, I'm not in favor of. I can't support funds, allocations of funds to be drawn down over a 4-year period. I think we need to, me personally, I would want to see an application every year.
What, application well, that's something we could discuss.
You know, they're asking for
But-
$1.5 million
Correct.
this year. The year 2, they should be asking for $750. Year 3, they should be asking for
So I'm just,
$750.
for
And
where
I say
we-
that because we are
Yeah.
the CPC funds.
Yeah.
Who's to say, and we have to prioritize things.
Yeah.
Who's to say that the Buzzards Bay Coalition or somebody else comes out with a far better project that we want to fund, but we can't because we've already allocated funds years in advance. And it may not even be a farmland. We may decide that, hey, we've got this opportunity to build some housing, some affordable housing, which we haven't done. And this fantastic deal comes down the road, and we can't fund it, because we've already allocated funds. It's our decision to, so I don't wanna take that away from us. I'm all in favor of this.
Yeah.
But to commit to 4 years, where we don't know what our priorities are gonna be in 2, 3, and 4, I don't think we should be doing that.
So I want to just, thinking about where we are in our process, I want to take what you said and rephrase it as a question to the folks is what would be the impact if we did not do a multi-year award? Because we will continue this conversation next month.
And I'm not opposed to
Yeah.
handing out funds to them every year, if it's
Yeah.
available, but I don't know if funds will be available in 2, 3, but based on our priorities for the year.
I have an experience similar to this in another town on a CPC. There was a housing development trust, right? And we appropriated money to them and had a consensus on the CPC at a time that we would continue to fund that trust on an annual basis for a particular amount of money.
Yeah.
And we did, over a period of years. And so there was a reluctance to commit a future CPC and a future town meeting to appropriate money. It's been done here where you borrowed money and you're essentially committing the taxpayers to pony up to pay the debt service over future years. So anyway, it's the question that I think each of us has to answer for ourselves. Is it, do we want to commit a future committee that we might not be on, or where we may have new information?
So I just gonna, at this stage, I just want to phrase it as a question.
Yeah.
So we can get
Yeah.
some feedback from the sponsor, and then we'll kind of fold that into this conversation. I think it would be important that this the defining what the scope of the work is, responsibilities, how this is going to work with an advisory group and things like that need to be worked out. My feelings that that should be worked out in some kind of an MOU form with the town before town meeting, because if that all falls apart, and those relationships actually can't get figured out, this fund is gonna flounder. And so, my thing is, I wanted to ask is, if they can put together an MOU with the town that really defines the relationships, the responsibilities, who's gonna do what, and just the basic idea of how they're gonna entertain proposals. Would be good to see that can be pretty much worked out over the next couple of months. Because if those things can't be figured out, I'd like us to avoid the town having kind of sunk a bunch of money into something that can't move. That is kind of like caught up in, and if we make sure that everybody understands and agrees on how they're gonna do this, I think we're a little more comfortable with
That's a good point.
sinking money into it.
Yeah.
So I can kind of phrase that. And I also think that this is one that would be worthy of sending to town council. And town council has already weighed in about this being the direction, but just sending this proposal to town council with any feedback about, how, where, anything else that they think needs to be done to initiate this fund. And I say that because I'm always a little bit, sometimes with these things, I'm a little concerned about 11th hour surprises, it's now May, and then we find out, I think there might be a trouble with this, let's pull it from the warrant kind of issue. That always bothers me. It doesn't happen too often, but when it does, it kind of
Yeah.
bugs me.
Yeah.
So I think let's flush out any issues now.
I don't know, I don't think there's enough time to do that. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I
Yeah.
think that, you may see that, 3 days before town meeting, oh, nope, time out.
Might not be, but one
because,
end of it is just make sure
Town
that,
council is busy and we don't get a week turnaround.
so I want to see if I can open the door to making sure there's no other issues that the town council might find that should be addressed in going forward with this.
That opens a question that I have. So with the Ag Commission, who would their attorney be? Would their attorney be town council?
Yeah,
I believe so.
there's only one
Yeah,
attorney.
there's only one does.
Well, I know, but we pay the town council.
We're the only commission that can have a separate attorney.
No, we
Every-
can't. We asked that question.
Yeah, they always kind of say we
I thought,
we couldn't pursue it. That was Mr. Cressman's
Right, I asked that
view. That's the
question.
last time we did that. We raised that flag. We couldn't raise it
raised it.
again.
I thought we could.
I think it's
Anyway,
it's a
well,
valid question.
Yeah, that's a whole nother,
It's only the
But
There's
either
some
way,
pros and
he's
cons with
reviewing
that.
it from the town's perspective.
With the Ag
right,
Commission,
and all.
would they be able to hire their own attorney, or would they have to use ours?
No, they gotta use town council.
How come we're different? How come we're
Because they
the
can't hire anybody. The selectmen, they don't have any funds. They don't have a budget.
Yeah. I think
The only one that's got a
Cressman's
legal,
rule-
the only legal budget in town is the select board.
Yeah,
And they dictate who that, now they can hire somebody special. They can hire a special counsel to handle something for the Ag Commission, but the Ag Commission can't.
yeah. And the previous administrator's view was we do have an administrative budget, unlike the Ag Commission, and therefore
sure if there
our
was-
legal requests are our administrative
Something
expense.
unique that a board or commission had is saying, hey, we want a special attorney for this review. The town could entertain that and not use
Right.
their town council, but that's, the only people have jurisdiction over our legal budget is the select board.
So we had a rewrite of the description, a rewrite of the credential sections to take care of these points. And I asked I think it probably is a town council question on what, where can the CPC
Right.
weigh in on APR terms and conditions? And
That's
I
very
don't know the
important.
answer, that's
No.
probably a town council kind of
That's important.
question.
We don't want any mistakes.
We get examples of farms that potentially could have been kept in agriculture, would such a fund have been available at the time?
Because as long as I've been on the CPC, I've never been, I don't recall, hey, you know, we need some money to purchase this farm, and because we didn't get to the town meeting fast enough, that the deal fell through. That's never happened in my tenure.
Any other questions on need for additional information on this? Okay, so I'm going to, tomorrow, I guess, there's a lot of questions we have for all these folks, so I better get them to them quickly. Write these up, and then I send off a letter to each of the sponsors with these questions and inviting them to our meeting on March 10th, which will have a public hearing and stuff. Could someone let Susan know that she can come back to the table and we're just gonna wrap up?
Yeah, yeah.
Or she might have left. If she left, that's okay too. We still have a quorum.
She's right here.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. You want some no fudge here? That's right there.
Invoices?
So next meeting will be March 10th?
Oh, for the proposal?
Yes.
Oh, those,
Signature sheets.
that, right there, that group, you hand that back, yeah.
You want that
Back
back?
this way, yeah, for
Okay.
her files. Thank you. Okay, so, wrapping up our meeting, thank you all for hanging in there. I don't believe we have any status report. Oh, we do? Okay. Thank you for reminding me that. Also, I checked, Margaret had asked me about where things stood with the home rehab program. So I did reach out to Cody, and he got back to me today. That they've got the forms are back, but they need the assistant town administrator to be hired in order to have the capacity to launch the program. So, that's the next step, is get an assistant town administrator, and then he's got somebody who can take the program. And that, typically, that's the person who's been doing it. So that's where we are. That's where we are. And
That's depressing to me.
I understand that. It's almost forward progress. It's not, I understand it.
How long
It's
have we
disappointing.
not, when was the last time we lent money on that?
Yeah.
You know, when the last time we gave somebody some money to put windows in?
Probably 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years.
I mean, that's
I
outrageous.
understand that, yeah. Yeah. We have one project status report from the Cultural Center. They've been given the 30-year lease effective December 1st, 2025. Their architect is now working on the bid documents. Everything's been delayed, waiting for the 30-year lease. And that's it, does not mention it.
I'm sorry, what project is that?
This is the Cultural Center. Anything on the housing production plan, is that?
We had a meeting with the planning board, and we went through through the whole housing production plan. There were some corrections that some of the board members thought should be done, okay? So Dan, who's gonna call Taylor from Serped and try to go over it. There were a couple of issues that I think were very important that the board had some questions on. And Dan is gonna talk to Cody about it. Okay, but it's there, and we should have it, you know, we're gonna have another meeting in another month or so, but it looks good, except for these little changes that we needed to make. Did you see it?
I'm off the email list.
You're off the email list?
When you said that you met at a meeting, I'm like, oh, I didn't know about, I'm off the, since Chris
Yeah, you gotta get
Catali left,
him
I
back on
haven't
there.
gotten an email about
Important,
anything.
Michael.
Okay.
These are important to have that, okay?
All right, appreciate it, thanks.
I will get that. I gotta remember, but I'll get that. Surprised you didn't get that.
No, I didn't know, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Nothing further on the open space process in terms of, I think the next step the town was looking into how they would jointly venture holding restrictions. So they see that as a feasible thing to do. But it's interesting so far, these two potential projects, the town is gonna be holding the restriction and not aware yet that the town, though, that's probably a good question to make sure. I'll add the question, is the town going to hold this restriction or do it jointly? If they do it jointly, they're gonna have to have a separate application of that entity for the endowment if they want that. But that will have to be at a later town meeting and stuff. Okay, so next meeting is March 10th, I believe, right? Usually,
Yes.
March 10th, which will have, a portion of our meeting will be public hearing. And then we typically take up recommendations for town warrant after the hearing closes. So then we really talk through these proposals and try to make decisions about what would we recommend to town meeting, both in support of and dollar amounts and where, or what.
Is that realistic to do all that in one evening?
I think we'll give it a shot, but, we can give it a shot, but maybe be.
3 hours to do.
Listen, you gotta bring the
so-
get the
More
candy,
fudge,
not
more
coffee.
fudge, more fudge, yeah.
No
It's a fair
coffee.
question, we're in hour 3 right now.
Yeah.
I don't have faith we'll be done on March 10th.
Yeah.
You know, if we stay, we may be done on the 11th if we stay through.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not staying
I don't think we'll
overnight.
be done on the 10th.
I'm not staying overnight.
So practically speaking, though, that's interesting, because, yes, I
Yeah,
just.
we're not gonna get it done on March
Yeah.
10th, so I think we should plan, can we wait till April, or do we need to plan something
Or
in
maybe,
between?
I wonder if we should what
Tentatively
if we
schedule
put on the
something
books
for-
March 10th and the 17th? Could people do that?
I don't
And the
know.
17th is basically our spillover, and if we don't
That's
have.
St.
it's-
Patty's Day? What's St.
No.
Patrick's Day?
Bring drinks, we'll bring drinks or something.
I think it's a good idea to have
We'll set it up,
for the 17th.
March
Yeah.
17th.
if we could do that, and
I'll have to look at my calendar.
it'll be,
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
the
it's
most,
St.
it'll be a
Patrick's Day.
short
It is
meeting,
St. Patrick's Day. It is
if
St.
we have
Patrick's
to
Day.
at all.
It is St. Patrick's Day?
Yes,
Yeah, they didn't put it on my Google calendar.
well, it doesn't, I thought it was.
Yeah. They know I'm Portuguese, it doesn't mean anything to me, right, so that's what it's done.
Everybody's Irish.
So are we okay shooting for that?
Yep.
We'll set up two meetings, the 10th and the 17th, and the 17th is only if we need it.
Very good.
All right. Can I have a
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? We've had a lot of discussion, want to talk about that? I don't think so. All in favor?
Aye.
I believe that is unanimous. Thank you so much.